of faithful people like yourself that show up to serve our province. And it is an honor. We have put our hand up. We have Corky Neufeld representing Abbotsford West. We have Bruce Bowman representing Abbotsford South. And myself representing Abbotsford Mission. And we have put our hand up to serve our community. But we cannot do it if we don't have a leader that has stood up and spoke out for what is right. And it is my honor and my privilege to introduce to you today, right here with us, John Rustad.
Thanks everybody for coming out, and I was just saying to Bruce, I hadn't seen him in so long. It's so nice that I didn't see him again. I'm kind of wondering what he's been doing. Which mic do I need? Which speaker do I need to? Oh yes, we can't. That'd be back a little bit. You want to put me in the shadows? I'm sorry, I don't want to be in the shadows. Thanks everybody for coming out, and I tell you what, this has been a great campaign so far. Going around the province, the people that have been out and engaged, the grassroots movement, it has really been something to see. And people, came up to me and they're excited to tell me they had lined up at 8 o'clock in the morning on the first day of advanced polling to get out and vote. That shows the eagerness that we have in our voters. We've had record high voter turnout so far in advanced polls. 1.1 million people have already cast their ballots in BC. And I can tell you something, we looked at it and looked at the results, and it looks very, very positive for the Conservative Party. Our voters are getting out to vote. And I can understand why, because it's been 7 years of N.D.P, and can anybody say anything is better after 7 years? No. I mean, our deficit has gone through the roof. It's record high deficits. Our healthcare system is collapsing. Our economy is in shambles. Our private sector job growth is at zero practically. We've seen drugs on our streets and crime happening just all over the place. I mean, it is just absolutely brutal to think about what has happened here. And David Eby says, but look at all the progress we've made. I mean, look at all the 10 cities. Look at all the statistics of drugs and crime, and this is what he calls progress? It's absolutely crazy to see that this is what's going on in BC.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about things, and yesterday was a prime example. Yesterday I was in Nanaimo, or campaigning in Nanaimo, and so was David Eby. Same time he was there. At his office, he had between 20 to 30 people come out, to cheer him on in what he was doing. And all they did, of course, was he attacked us. He said, we're going to cut $4 billion out of healthcare spending, and we're going to bring US-style healthcare. We are not cutting healthcare. Our budget is very clear. We're adding $3.8 billion in healthcare. We're not cutting healthcare. And we're looking at a European model. And I actually think, quite frankly, with him continually talking about US-style politics, I think he might need to take a geography course, because Europe is not the US. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think. Anyway, so we then went off into what he was doing. We had a rally that night. We had between 200 and 300 people out in Nanaimo. People are hungry for change. I was talking to an ER nurse in Nanaimo, and she's been working there for a long time. She's lived there for 20 plus years. She lives in downtown Nanaimo, and she said, on my street, every election it's always orange signs, right? They're all the orange signs that are there supporting N.D.P. And this election, there is a single orange sign, and most of the houses have blue supporting signs. They want change. And we're seeing this right across the province. It's absolutely amazing. I was just in Chilliwack. Lifelong N.D.P-er was out at our campaign office working on the campaign saying, I've had enough of this nonsense. Like, there's no future in British Columbia with an N.D.P government. They're coming over, they're working on a campaign, they're part of what we're doing. It's actually amazing the coalition that has been put together under the Conservative banner in British Columbia. And I can understand why, people want to get rid of the carbon tax. I mean, that's going to put $1,200 back into the pockets of families on an annual basis. David Eby wants to double the carbon tax. People can't afford this sort of thing anymore. We need to get our economy going. We need to make sure that we expand our agricultural sector. We only have 1/3 of the food we consume coming from BC. 2/3 is coming from outside our borders. It's crazy. Why would we leave ourselves insecure on it when it comes to food? This is why we need to double food production. We need to do a much better job of managing water. That includes managing floods and the potential there, which means we have to improve our dikes, we have to do some dredging of our rivers, we've got to make sure we put those mooring systems in place, the types of things that were just common sense. But for whatever reason, governments have refused to do this. But most of all, I just want to say this, as we go forward and the things that we're doing, whether it's going to be building the houses and getting red tape and out of the system, just doing something simple like removing PST on affordable used vehicles. Just something that needs to be done in British Columbia, so we're going to get that done. We're going to also make sure, for example, the luxury tax, it's set right now at $55,000. That's the average price of a vehicle, $55,000 to $60,000. That's certainly not a luxury. So we're going to make sure that luxury tax gets adjusted, especially for trucks. Makes no sense. And most trucks are in the $70,000 range. People need a truck when they're on the farm or you're out working in the woods or in most places. Why would we call that luxury? So we're going to fix that problem as well. And just a couple other little things that we put into the platform that most people haven't noticed. As like I say, we're doing the Rustad rebate, we're doing the tax relief when it comes to renting and mortgages, and of course what we're doing with the carbon tax. But there's something else. People working in the service sector, they struggle, they don't get the best wages, they struggle, they're trying to get tips, they do everything they can. And I actually think they need a break too. And so that's why we are not going to tax tips in British Columbia. We're going to end the B.C. tax little things, but they're very, very important things for people in terms of trying to make life more affordable for people in British Columbia. So I actually just want to take a moment as well to thank both Randy and John for coming out, former colleagues of mine under the different banner of the BC Liberal banner, but I'm so pleased that you're here and you're helping out with the campaign. It's great to see you. But guys, we have 2 days of campaigning to go and then it's election day. Our job now is to keep, just keep our nose to the grindstone, pushing hard every step along the way, fighting for those last votes. And I know that both Brianne, as well as Corky and Bruce, are going to be out doing just that, making sure that we earn those votes that are needed. Because like I say, people around the province are hungry for change. They're hungry for common sense that is just going to be able to get some sanity back to our province. Get rid of the drugs, get rid of the decriminalization stuff that's going on. Bring an end to this crime wave that we have in British Columbia. Bring back just that common sense. There's so much that needs to be done. Somebody asked me at one point, what would the first top 3 things that you would do as government? And I'm like, I can't put it down to 3 things. There's so many things that need to be changed in BC. And every ministry, should we have that honor of forming government, every ministry is going to have a top 3 things to fix. So there are literally dozens and dozens of things that we need to get to right away here in British Columbia. And I really look forward to the work. And I told all the colleagues, I said, look, if we form government, we can expect one thing. That is long days, hard work, because there's a ton of things that need to be done. We're going to be ready to go right on day 1. Should we have that honor for the government, we're going to make sure that we bring about those changes as quickly as possible for people in British Columbia so we can get back to work. Let's get government out of the way, let's get rid of the red tape, let's make sure that people can be proud once again to be British Columbia and build that future here. Last thing I want to say is this. With 1 and 2 youth thinking about leaving this province, that is our future. That really is our future. And Bruce Bannon, to put it best, when he talked about his grandson, he just never wants to be in a position where he says to his grandson who is packing his bags and leaving this province, and grandson turns to him and say, Dad or Granddad, why didn't you fight for us? That should never be the story of British Columbia. We need to stand up and fight for what's right. We need to fight for our future in this province. And that's what a Conservative Party is going to do. We are going to make sure that we can make that people in this province can build that future and be proud of being British Columbia. And that's because of all of you guys and the work you're doing. So thanks very much for being out and being involved. Thanks for working hard.